Okay, welcome to session 6 of our new consultant training. This is your sales director, Natalie Noel Cousins, and I will be sharing with you session 6 out of the new consultant manual, which you received in your email when you became a part of the unit, the Millionaire Dynasty. Okay, I love to continue sharing with you. So I'm going to share my screen. This is a really wonderful, quick session. So here we go. Session. Okay, very good. Very good. Session 6. Session 6, okay, is called the business behind the business. So we know that we are in business for ourselves, not by ourselves. That's one of the sayings you will hear from Mary Kay quite often. And there's a business side of selling this wonderful product, right? The skincare, the makeup, the body care. And right here, you'll begin to see what some of the things are that you need. Now, you've already received as a separate document the magic zip code. It's just called something a little different in the header over here. But it's the same. It's the same thing. You should be submitting this every Monday. Um, you can submit the Sunday night as well to me via email, text, a screenshot of it is fine, and we share this every week. Now I'm gonna read a little bit from the one that we have, um, where it says Eagles are number one. That's our home one. But basically, there's something says, okay, so let's read what it says here. Number one, when you're not spending time with me, you are making a life for me. So you want your family to think like this so that they don't get jealous of your time with your Mary Kay business. Number two, sacrifice is a requirement for success. Very powerful statements that you have to remember. Now, here's the thing. Also, we have accountability is the key to any leadership success. Accountability. That's on the list and the one that you got as a separate document in your email. Accountability is the key to any leadership success. So if you're looking to succeed, you've got to be accountable. Accountable means that you got to share with someone about what you're doing, how you're doing, so that you can get insight, you can get improvement, you can even get recognition. Number two, activity in the right areas leads to results. You should be having activities in the right areas, not just, busy work and you're not making progress. Number three, successful people do what unsuccessful people don't do. I don't know who did it, who said it here, but I know I've heard others have said that, I believe. Eric Worre and Mark Lucado and some other people. Successful people do what unsuccessful people won't do. I said won't do, not just don't do, but won't do. Number four, in order to be free enough to find creativity, you have to be disciplined enough to follow routine. This is by Ken Banks, Gloria Banks' husband. In order to be free enough to find creativity, you have to be disciplined enough to follow routine. Having a routine is very important to a successful leader. You need to be doing the things that need to be done when they need to be done. That's what discipline is. If you need to get up at a certain time and then go to bed at a certain time, if you need to submit documents at a certain time, if you need to make phone calls at a certain time, you have to be disciplined enough to follow a routine, make a schedule, make some systems for yourself, and then that will then free up time for you to be creative in the time that you're working. And number five, remember that all your goals and all your desires are of no value unless you put them into action. You have to take action. You cannot just be a hearer of the word, but you've got to be a doer of the word. All of your goals and your desires of no value. Doesn't matter what you want to accomplish. I want to do this. I want to do this. But if you are not doing the things that will lead you there, then how's that going to work? Right? Okay. So those are just some encouraging statements that are at the tops of these sheets. But here's the magic, it says work your magic zip code, 52631. 52631. You'll see how this adds up. Now, okay, so it says 5 leads per day. 5 leads per day. That's what the five stands for. See, 52631, five. 5 leads per day. Warm chatter leads, referrals. That means that if you are making your list of 30 people to start with, and that's more than five, right? That's 30. Now, after that, you should have a consistent method of getting more leads. So those new leads are people who you meet on the street, people who are referrals, or who you meet on social media, who friend you on social media. Those are coming, they're coming to you. They want to be your friends, so you can engage them. Once you've put out your social media, kind of like letting them know who you are, or just your content, whatever. Those are leads. So you want to be working with new leads, fresh leads every day. Okay. If you are not doing Mary Kay 7 days a week, maybe you do it 3 times a week, maybe you do it 5 days a week. That's fine too. But just make sure that you're getting fresh leads every day. Number two is the bookings. You want to do 2 bookings per day. Now that's a total of 10 10 to 14 bookings a week. Doesn't mean they're all going to hold. And those bookings can be within the next 14 days. So while you meet these people, you get these referrals, you want to engage them within 24 to 48 hours for the first time, and see if you can schedule them for an appointment. Now, if you don't get them in the first try, which we talked about in the beginning and earlier lessons or sessions, if you don't get them on the first try, that's fine. That's typical. When we're working with people and working with numbers, you want to know that you have to consistently reach out. It says up to at least a minimum of 5 at times attempts at reaching a person. First time you may not get them. You may leave them a message, you leave them a text, you call them again, and several times you have to call because over maybe a little bit of time. But it would be great if you met them, or they were referrals, or they were people in your meetings, who in your parties, who you then can work with to schedule your appointments. You should be booking, by the way, at your class, right? You want to book at your parties. You want to walk out of there with 1 to 2 bookings. The hostess, you're going to rebook, unless it's her glam party, then she's not going to necessarily rebook, but you're going to want to book a couple of people in that party for them to have their own glam party, right? So you just want to keep that, perpetuate that. Number six stands for 600 in sales. That is $100 in sales per day. Now, so she didn't say 7, she said 52631. So 600 in sales for the week, not per day. In the beginning, $100 a day, $60, $80, right? 8, 7, 8 are 56, 80, $85 a day. That is a good way to keep going. If you're selling at $85 a day, if you have 7 days a week, again, if you're not doing that, you want to work out the math. But the intent is that you would have 600 in sales, 300 in wholesale. And if you do that every week, that will definitely get you into STAR. That will get you on target for recognition as a diva, as a $1,000 babe, and all of these wonderful fun things. But it's just money in your pocket, because when you make the sales, 50% of that is yours, right? And then we're going to talk more about the business part. 50% is really 60/40, but we'll talk a little bit more about that. 50% goes to your wholesale purchases, 10% for some business expenses, right? You're not supposed to be having business expenses that exceed your product sales. And then 3 interviews per week. Out of the people who you've booked and you've seen and you facial, you did 3 faces, you did 6 faces, 10 faces in a week, because it doesn't say how many faces, it's how many bookings. If you have 3 bookings for the week, you should be able to produce 3 interviews. Out of those people, you should be able to get interviews. And I encourage you to have have parties that have 3 to 6 people, 3 to 5 guests along with your hostess. That will give you a lot of people to work with. You'll be able to do the 30 faces, no struggle. And then finally, one accomplishment sheet, which is this document filled out and turned in on Mondays by noon. Now, here's the thing. This section here, okay, this section here, which is the number of faces per week, you want to get into the habit, you want to be able to put a name and how much was the sales for that person. Okay, that's when you do a facial. Not these are not the on-the-go sales. These are specifically for your new faces, or even refacials, like you went to your good customers, but you haven't done a facial with her in a long time. This is a good place to put it, names and faces right here. Okay. Basically your appointment. What's your appointment? Now, if you have a hostess, again, you want to put the name of the hostess and the total sales for her event. Okay. Out of this is how you'll have how many leads you'll have, because she will if she had 5 people at the party, those are 4 leads, right? 5 leads. Then in this section over here, sorry, your month to date, right? Your month to date sales. Let's see. I think we'll do it here. I don't know what I did differently. That was weird. All right, so here your number of faces month to date. MTD is month to date. That means this is weekly. So we want to keep a running total with the goal of 30 faces for the month. Now you may exceed 30 faces, but you won't know that unless you're tracking. So this week's faces, you have the number of faces here. You add that up with the number of guests. You might have had 3 faces in the 3 guests, whatever. You put it right here. And you keep track with the number of retail sales this week. That would include reorders, that will include website orders, on the go sales where someone just, you may have run into somebody and you sold them some lip gloss. It was either not pre-planned or was a drive-by. You just went by your friend and you happen to have your lip gloss with you, something like that, right? This is your retail sales for week, and then you're going to keep a running total for the month to date, because you want to get you're going to check based on your goal, your personal goal for the week. What are your retail sales, right? What is your retail sales? If you know your monthly sale is supposed to be $1,000, that's your goal, or $1,200, right? $1,200 is your goal, so that's $300 a week. If you are not tracking, you won't know if you're doing that, because sometimes you may do 200, then another week you did 400. That's already 600, but if you're not tracking it, you may not think you're on track. So it's a great way to keep track of your progress. Again, this is accountability. Your wholesale orders this week. You may put an order in every week. It doesn't even matter how often you put in an order. Every time you put an order, yes, you will be charged shipping and taxes, but those are business expenses. So you want to keep track of that in your, on those sheets. Keep all of them. Do not destroy any of them, because I'll show you how to, just have to record that on a spreadsheet or piece of paper, that you just keep a running list of how much everything costs you. Okay. Or at the end of the year, when you're working with your tax person, you want to be able to keep all of your receipts, your expenses, keep nice little organized files so that you can use that to record everything and summarize it. And then your wholesale orders month to date, because you may have a goal for your wholesale orders. Maybe it's for 300, maybe it's 600 wholesale, maybe it's 1,000, maybe you're on track for the Queen's Court of sales, which means you're doing 1,800 or almost 2,000, right? So you have a goal, and if you're not tracking this, you won't know if you're hitting your goal and if you're on target for where you are. So then you place at the next section right here. Okay, your next section over here is for your star. Your star goal for the quarter comes, and we have a strategy for that. Now you want to see this as your star goal for the quarter, because everybody should be a star. When you're a star, that $600 minimum per month in wholesale orders. So that's what this here is. If you have a 600 wholesale order per month, you're on target to be a Sapphire Star, right? 1800. If you're not keeping track, like I mentioned, you won't know if you're on track for the star quarter that you want, right? It's somewhere, it starts with 600, 6, 7, 6, that's 300 every 2 weeks, right? 400, 500, 600, and 800. So that's how we break it down. And then you have track of your personal interviews. If you do 3 to 5 interviews in a week, that gives you a higher chance or opportunity to have someone join your team. Okay. And the interviews we talked about in the previous session, session number 5, give you some information and some questions that you would ask and give you some insight right there. And then we have finally in your on the zip code is your team building month to date, your number of interviews. Again, this is this week's interviews, but you keep a track month to date. And you include in that anyone who you invited to the meetings. We're doing our meetings online. So anyone you invited to the meetings and out of that, how many new team members you got. So if you do 30 interviews and maybe 25 interviews and 5 guests, there's a serious guarantee that you're going to have new team members. Okay, this is guaranteed. All right. Now, so this is another tracker. Track your full circle parties. So again, full circle means that you book, code, sell, and recruit. You book the party, you coach the party, you sell at the party, and then you invite people to listen to the marketing plan to get some information. So right here, perfect 12. You're keeping track. This was your hostess. You're going to keep right? This is the number of people. This is the hostesses here, how much it was, how many parties were booked, and number of career surveys. So right here, career surveys and guests per week. Okay, this is again a tracker. 5 people, right? Yes, no, maybe so. What is next for that person? If they're yes, no, maybe so. This is a little more detailed for keeping track of your 12, right? 12 interviews. Okay. That's 3 per week. 5 per week will give you for the month 20. So that's a 3 to 5. Then you keep a track month to date when you fill this out. Total parties, qualified parties means a qualified party means that you did um you did $100 in sales with a qualified party. That means you had a hostess and 2 guests, 3 people, and $100 in sales. That is a qualified party. The total number of faces that you've seen month to date, total retail sales, career survey guests or guests, new team members, and quarter dates. So this is a similar tracking sheet. If this feels more comfortable to you, you can do this because it's the results. We really want to just make sure you know the results. Personally, me use this first one here, magic zip code. Really love how that goes. This one says, second one says 30, 60 faces, not 30. And gold medal is the number of new 5, right? You're tracking towards a gold medal. That's 5 new team members. All right, 21 ways to finish your star is part of this list here. Okay, so we are in the 4th quarter star. This happens to be where we're filming this, and these are the ways to finish star. These are the numbers here, and you can use this to break down your star goals. Okay, what's your goal? How much wholesale do you have in? How much wholesale do you need to do to finish? How much retail do you need to sell daily, weekly, and daily to finish? Because you'd have a daily sales goal as well. And how many qualified team members will you add to increase your level? Which means if you have a team member who comes in during the star quarter and become qualified, which they have 4 months to do so, then that will increase your star level. And then how many interview guests do you need to have to reach your recruiting goal? So it's again breaking it down, having a good sense of where you are. Book and hold 5 new parties. So we can go into this in detail, but it's It's really just stepping. It's the same things that we're talking about, step summarized so that you can now be working towards a goal. Okay. You can do the 24 and 24 challenge, 24 by 24 by 24. You can do a lipstick challenge. These are all great ways to do this because you can sell a gift certificate. Um, people can just buy 25, $50, $100 gift certificates if they're not sure what they're getting. You can do a birthday makeover club, right? 15% when they share their appointment. So they'll get 15%, not just off the bat, but 15% when they share their appointment with at least two friends. So that is incentive for them to have people at their makeover. You want to set up your birthday makeovers. And I like that. It's a little more of a stretch. It's kind of challenging her to step up her game. And then you contact husbands of your customers with anniversaries coming up, birthdays coming up, holidays coming up. You want to be able to reach out to family, their family and friends that they put on the profile. Contact basic skincare customers and introduce them to other product line. 15% of off purchases of body care, skin, sun care, and fragrances. So if they just bought skincare, now you want to reach out to them during the time of their 2+2+2, which is during your quarter, to share and give them 15% off of any other purchases. Um, Ask your family members to help you sell $100 each, right? Ask them to help you sell. Okay, ask them and then offer them a gift for doing their $100, right? We're working on something as a family. And I like these, right? So use them. You have 1 to 21 different ways to finish the. I love these. I'm probably going to do these as a training on our Tuesday night session. So don't be surprised if you hear me say this again. It's very good. Okay, here we go. This one is a consultant success sheet. This is for your quarterly goals. So week over week, you're gonna keep. This is how you use it to keep track for your sales for your quarter for STAR, right? And you have a plan of action. You have a quarter. So this you have your quarterly goals, and you can do year-long consistency challenge, right? For your team building credits. This will get you there into the Princess Court or even higher. All right. And this here, please note this one. This is your weekly plan sheet. You should, at the beginning of each new month, write out the plan sheet for every week, set it up. And as far as you know, put in all of your appointments, all of the places that you know are locked in already, things that you already have to do, places where you have to be, work, church, rehearsals, all of those things. You're going to use that to be able to see where there are gaps, empty spaces, unscheduled time in your day. Okay. Yes, maybe you have the kids, you're watching the kids. Can you, while you maybe not, right? While you're watching kids, you may not be able to do that. While you're taking care of your elderly, you may not be able to. But at some point, you should be able to have a break where you can do a 2 hour block, 1 hour, certain 1 hour here and there, knowing, identify, writing in what is your schedule for your training, new consultant training, one-on-ones with your director, Monday night training, unit meeting training on Tuesdays. You basically have the rest of the week. If we have any or team building sessions or online, like a virtual party, you want to put all that stuff in there. So it keeps it visual at a glance and you can highlight and identify all of the things that you need to do for the month. And you just make multiple copies. This version here that says the Mary Kay Weekly Accomplishment Sheet technically is online in the Mary Kay Weekly Accomplishment Sheet section as the paper version. So you can start it on paper or you can give me this and we can fill it out. It lists every sale that you have, or hostess, and the time invested, the number of guests, right, that you had for this, the number of orders that were placed, the number of bookings that you got out of your party, the number of skincare sets that were sold in total, and then you break down it by the sales tax. You can put what each type of sale was, skincare classes, on-the-go appointment, etc. And then this is the sales less the sales tax for each of the sale. So that's the before you add on the tax, you write the sales tax here, your gift with purchase, whatever you gave your hostess, you want to identify that. You want to identify gift with purchase for the sale. So everything over $40, you gave them a gift, and you have any product given away, right? Because it's just about $4 to $8 somewhere in that region for your gift with purchase. Any product given away, that's full size product that was given away. You want to identify that, right? Maybe you were offering a free lipstick or free lip gloss to your guests for listening to for having two guests, right? Because your guest brought guests. So she was gonna get free lipstick, so that's the way you would record that for her name. And then you put Donner software sales tax, which is the sales tax on the products and the gifts on the section one products that you gave away. Those are going to be deducted as expenses, right? And you keep track of this here, total. Now it's easier if for some people who love to work with paper and they need to see it, that's perfectly fine. Okay, you can fill it out every week. It does keep a running log of it for you on your InTouch once you go in and find the section under business tools. Here too, it gives you a recap of everything you did for the week. Okay. What was your sales totals here by type with your tax? So just gives you a summary of it right there. Everything here is added up. Number of appointments for next week, number of skincare sets sold this week, any new team members and team member appointments. So you just get it all in one place. So again, when you do this, you will really begin to see your business, and you can use it, file them, and keep track of them over the year. So you have 52 of these at the end of the year that you can take to your tax person and show them all of your income and your taxes, how that was working. Okay, then you're going to keep track of your expenses on the other side. All right. The next part of this part here, estimated weekly gross profit, is your sales less your tax. So you want to know your gross profit. Deposit the total amount collected in a business account and then allow 60% for sales for product replacement and 40% as profit less other business expenses. So out of the 40%, you're paying for your business expenses. If you're buying Section 2 products, if you had to mail something out, if you have, whatever it is. So this is how you begin to estimate your weekly gross profit, right? Total sales times 0.4, 60/40. You also can use this to begin to understand what is your per face ratio, how much you sell per person. You can identify what's your rate per hour based on the number of hours that you spend making these things happen, and your number of hours is being in front of the customer. You may add to that if you like. You can do that as a second calculation. How many the travel time, half hour, an hour each way, whatever. You want to add that in because that's part of your time working. Okay. And you can put anything that you want here to communicate that with me, your goals for next week. And here it says, now your hourly gross profit, which is what I was talking about. How much did you do in your gross profit, which is your sales? Okay. That's your 40% basically. Right? Because it's 40% is your weekly gross profit. You take the gross profit, which was the 40%, and you divide that by the number of hours you worked. And now you know how much you make per hour with your Mary Kay. It's really good, really good. All right. And then your prospective team members, they're interviewed and so on, right? Okay, great. So we still have a couple more documents. So there is an instruction sheet. Here we go. There is an instruction sheet for the weekly accomplishment sheet. You can use that to fill it out. It gives you more detail. And Power Business Management. So this is how do you keep your money, how do you keep your business running smoothly? This is a business plan. I actually thought this was going to be shorter. Okay, business management tools, systems that really work, help manage your time and your money. Okay, so let's go. You're an entrepreneur. Here are some questions. What are your strengths that benefit your business? What are some things you'd like to improve? How many hours a week are you willing to devote to your business? What are some things you want to accomplish in your business this year? These are questions that you, as the business owner, should answer as you are planning your business. And C says for the year. How do you rate your organization skills? This should be answered periodically, maybe quarterly, semi-annually, or even annually. How do you rate your time management skills? Mhm. That's the one with the weekly plan sheet. How do you rate your commitment to your goals? Okay. Then you look at your money management and inventory tips. How do you keep your receipts? Be sure to keep track of all business costs. Get in the habit of asking for receipts for everything. Keep envelopes for each calendar month. Like, get the big manila envelopes, incoming and outgoing expenses. Sales tickets go in the incoming. Keep the receipts for all expenses in the other, and this will make taxes and any paperwork easier to do monthly and keep on top of everything. It's very important. Don't complicate it by procrastinating because it'll snowball really quickly. You want to keep a log of your business mileage, okay? Or you use standard mileage. You just want to keep track of how many miles you travel for business. Sometimes it's local, so it's not that much, but still it adds up. Be sure to have a separate business checking and savings account. Don't mix your personal money with business funds. It become confusing and decrease the chance of embezzlement. You're embezzling your business. You're taking money out of your business that is not meant to be there. Okay. Usually that's what we're doing. We're embezzling from ourselves and we end up not having any money. Realize the difference between wholesale and retail. Okay. We pay $10 for product, sell it to a customer for 20. So you have to understand that it's not based on your retail. Most of it's not based on your retail sales. It's based on your wholesale. Most prizes and everything is based on your wholesale. Try to keep your business cost to a minimum. Okay, don't be afraid to invest in your inventory, seminars, trainings, breakfast, as these are things that will make you money eventually. But keep from spending too much on things less needed, like fancy stationery, elaborate office equipment, too much stock on section two items, for example. Section two items are your giveaways. You could buy that consistently, but you want to keep your inventory and other things going. Give yourself time to build a profitable business, at least 3 years of, right? It says the average business takes at least 3 years of 24/7 to be on a profit basis. So those of us who work part-time, it might take a little longer. Thank goodness it's the type of business, ours is the type of business with a proven and precise marketing plan. How quickly you start making money is based on how quickly you get a full level inventory. Never get discouraged in your first year. It takes time to be great. You are greatness in the making. And then you want to track your inventory. The My Customers app doesn't exist, so you definitely want to track your inventory with your purchase. You want to use that sheet that comes in the box. You want to record what your inventory is and your and your sales. Okay. All right. We got a few minutes. The 60/40 is this is the 60/40 split for money management. It's a great way to always make sure you replace the products you've sold. Okay. You have to have a checking account and a savings account. Use the checking account to make the sales and you put the 40% in the saving. Then you take it out later, not always, not every moment. Pink accounts is then used to purchase product inventory. Green account um, that's your savings, right? So your pink and your green accounts, 60/40 split, okay? Um, and if you have to have additional expenses like hostess gifts and office supplies and so on. Finally, I believe finally we're going to do the time management tips. Use a date book or planner so you can see what it is, or um we can use the weekly plan sheet and just do multiples of those, but keep it in a separate folder, a separate binder, something that you can have. You can see the month at a glance. Use your six most important things to do list, schedule everything. Do non-IPA or non-income producing activities on off hours. Okay. All your work hours is the time when you are making calls. It's the time when you're booking parties. It's the time when you are conducting parties. Okay. By double booking, bringing multiple guests to events, delegating when you can, and keeping your date book planner with you at all times, you can work smart. Okay. Make calls while you're waiting, for example. Your IPAs or income producing activities, we know what those are. Those are getting guests and calling people to invite them to events and stuff like that. Okay, these are from national sales directors. You can use it or lose it. Time, right? It's your greatest asset. Long coffee breaks, gossiping, sleeping too much, constantly late, standing in line with crowds could cause you to lose time. So you want to utilize your time wisely. Plan ahead to avoid these things, and you'll be hours ahead. Because remember, the time is money. You can print some of these and utilize them. Time is money. Use your six important things list, your weekly plan sheet. This right here is a weekly plan sheet, right? It's a nice schedule that's included. Okay. Your six most important things list. This is the list. It's made the night before. Um, we get up for our day with a focus for accomplishment, the satisfaction of getting the list completed. It's a daily discipline. Remember, we talked about discipline will free up for creativity, and success is one day at a time. Setting work standard for yourself. Because if you don't set a work standard for yourself as the boss, a lot of stuff not gonna get done. Okay. And training and education is your weekly meetings, which we talked about, your weekly success meetings, leadership conference, career conference, leadership conference for directors and DIQs, directors in qualification and above, career conference, seminar. These should be on your list. You should be planning for these. It happens every year. And then we have some words of wisdom from Mary Kay Ash, which you can read. Here's the list of what are the income producing activities: holding a party, booking a party, calling for reorders, networking for leads. These will be activities that help you to make money. Following up even with your team members and with party guests, interviews, coaches, hostesses, right? Filing orders to mail, filling order, filling orders can be done after, right? You've already made the money. Listening to recordings while cooking dinner, setting your goals, attending company functions, having a booth at a show, handing out cards and brochures and collecting names and numbers. Those are income producing activities, and the cost of the booth or the cost of the table is tax deductible. They're important, but not IBA. So you don't need to do these during your work hours. So we usually say it's after 9 p.m. when you can't call, where you can't book, you can't follow up on certain things. And it's before maybe 10, 9, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, whatever you start your day at your Mary Kay business. Okay, and this will help you for those of you who want to work full time or work business full time. These are very important to help you. All right. And this says how to quit your job and replace your income. This is a plan. It doesn't tell you you have to do that, but it is a plan so that you know what you need to be doing on a regular basis, right? And take your number of faces and divide by 52 weeks. This is how many faces you would need to see per week to replace your income. And that gives you a goal, right? That gives you a goal so you know what you're doing and you don't feel lost. Okay, when you don't have a goal, you don't have a direction to move. And I love this last sheet, but now we're done with this meeting and we will stop sharing now. Some of this you can read yourself. And I hope you take the time to read through all of it again, review it. You can review this recording, pause it, and read